Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening. Okay. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance and followed by prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Almighty God, contrary to popular belief, we still respect you and request your participation in everything we do here. Lord, thank you for this town, for the citizens, and for this board and the meeting that we're going to have tonight. Amen. All right. Is there... The agenda is before you. Is there anything that we need to address in approving the agenda?
Mayor, I had mentioned if there's some spot right there towards the end, just a quick comment and question about two things. One being the schoolhouse that is sitting in the park, and
Okay.
also just depot update.
All right. And we need to introduce our new planning director as well. So with those additions, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Okay. I suppose before we vote, we need to deal with apparently Junior is sick. Do we want to excuse him, or is there a motion?
I make a motion that we excuse him.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, it passes. So we are 3 voting members plus your mayor. All right. Richard,
All right.
tell us about that fine gentleman sitting over there.
Darn, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our new planning director, Jeff Jones. He is, I'm here for a second week. We hadn't run him off yet.
That's a good thing.
He has hit the ground running, and we've thrown just about everything we had at him. So I'll let him introduce himself, and he can tell you about himself and sort of where he's at.
Come on down, Jeff.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. I am Jeff Jones. I've been doing this for a long time, for 22 plus years. I've been in your neighboring communities in Fuquay and Holly Springs. So I've seen the growth that those communities have had, and now we are experiencing. I am home. This feels like home. I'm from a small town in North Carolina called Fairmont, which is smaller than Angier, but
Yep.
this feels like home. And I have been welcomed everywhere I went for the past week and a half, and I am thoroughly enjoying my time here and look forward to working with Richard while he's here, the new town manager, and all of the staff, and you all as well.
Well, we also welcome you. Welcome aboard. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Put on your visionary hat. What's Angier going to be like 10 to 15 years from now?
Well, if the economy stays as it is and doesn't falter, and that's to be determined here in the next few weeks, maybe. But if things continue to go the path that it is, and we want the development to continue as it is, then I think sky's the limits for Angier when it comes to growth, not only in the residential component, but non-residential and industry as well. I saw it in Holly Springs. I was there for 11 years. When I was started there, there was 13,000 people. When I ended, there was 30. It's now over 40. when I started, we heard nothing but rooftops, bring rooftops, you'll get commercial. Well, Andrew's getting the rooftops, we're going to get new commercial, we're going to finally get industry, just as Holly Springs. Holly Springs was nothing. It was nothing on the map.
Tobacco field.
Right.
Cotton field.
And
Nothing.
once people started living there and going to school there and raising families there, then that became a place where commercial wanted to go and industry wanted to go. And I see the same for Anger and more. We are situated much better than Holly Springs was when I started. So there's a good foundation here. And so sky's the limits for us.
That's good to know.
I lived in Fuquay when it had the same population Anger has now,
Okay.
back in turn of the century. Wow,
That sounds older than it is, but
Yes.
it was only a couple, 20 years ago or so.
yes.
Yeah. Yes, and Fuquay as well. They're growing, and we're seeing those growths come here, and we're situated well for that growth, though.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of the board, welcome you to the town of Anger.
Thanks
Thank
for taking
you.
a chance on us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have some. You have anything else at this point?
No,
Manager?
sir.
Okay. We have some presentations. The first is a presentation by Ting. Come on up, tell us about yourself, and give us a picture.
Great. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Smith. Thank you very much for the kind welcome. Commissioners, nice to meet you. My
Hold
name's
that up a
Patrick.
little bit. It's close.
Sure thing.
Tommy, you can just take it out of the.
Oh,
There.
okay. Hello.
Yes.
Patrick Mulhern. I'm the Director of Public Policy and Community Engagement for Ting Internet, and I'm here tonight to introduce you to Ting as a company and to give you some preview of our project that we're currently in the design phase for. If I may have the next slide, please. So just a little bit, it's sort of a marketing piece here. The foundation of Ting Internet is our relationships with the communities that we build in. And so I am leading this off here to begin our community engagement, but we have our construction teams all live in the vicinity. Our marketing people are going to look for opportunities here to support your community institutions and community-based organizations. We'll find ways to do more than just put our infrastructure in the ground and try to get subscribers. We see this investment in our markets as a long-term commitment, and so the foundation of that commitment is our relationship with you and the people who live here. We do only fiber internet, so that's the only product we have. We have one product. It's $89 a month. We'll be rolling out in Anger a 2 gigabit symmetrical connection, which means that we'll be doing 2 gigabits of data in both directions. So you'll get the 2 gigabit download, 2 gigabit upload for $89 a month. That's the only product that we have.
Wow.
We also offer people who qualify for the Affordable Connectivity Program. We have a special program for them that with the federal subsidy will mean that they will get free internet, so free symmetrical 2 gigabit service. About 40% of the country qualifies for that. So it's an income-based program from the federal government. Anybody making 200% of the federal poverty level or participating in there's a whole range of federal subsidy programs that people are able to tap into that automatically qualify for them for this program. So that would mean free internet service, 2 gigabit symmetrical for anybody who qualifies. If I may have the next slide, please. To give you an idea of sort of where we are, my responsibilities are North Carolina, the Metro Denver area, Arizona, and Southern California. Those are I have people who do a similar job to mine that I oversee in all those places. North Carolina is my specific responsibility, and so I'm very grateful for that opportunity here to finally be able to work in the communities and where I live. I live in Wake Forest. And my previous career, I worked as a consultant and I had clients all over the country and never really got to do work that benefited my community. So I'm happy to now finally be able to be doing that. If I may have the next slide, please. So some idea here, and these slides will be available to you. You can dig into them more deeply if you like. And if any of you have questions as we're going, just stop me, please. I'm happy to answer them. So what we have here, we do a fiber deployment throughout the city. I think that probably most people's experience with internet service providers is they look for the most lucrative areas to build their infrastructure, maybe where the rich people are or businesses are or what have you. Our design envisions fiber passing every address in the town. We're already talking about how we're going to get the fiber to some of your satellite annexation areas. We'll start with the urban core here, but our plan is always to have fiber pass every address in the municipality. It's a little more of the free and subsidized service for select nonprofits and residents. So the Affordable Connectivity Program is a residents, but we also look for community-based organizations that are doing work that maybe aligns with some of our values and some of our goals. One piece in particular that I'm specifically interested in is digital literacy. So a lot of people, they know that the internet exists, but they don't know how to use it safely and effectively. Maybe they don't know how to send an email, or they don't know how to set up their online bill pay or upload a document to the internet or something like that. There are community-based organizations that are teaching people, seniors or maybe some other types of marginalized communities, how to better access the internet. One program in Wake Forest that I'm particularly fond of does digital skills training, so teaching people how to get their Microsoft Systems Engineer certification, set them up with internships so that they can then get experience and then work their way out of poverty using technology. And so we're providing free internet service to that organization so that they can then do their mission, and we'll be looking for opportunities like that in Angier as well. May I have the next slide, please?
What about the town meeting place?
Yes, sir. Well, absolutely, we do that as well. We look for opportunities to help the municipalities improve their bandwidth so we can connect municipal facilities with fiber as part of our fiber design process. And absolutely, the town hall, I know that you're considering a new design for a more robust town hall, so we can help you provide fiber to that, or if it's just connecting your municipal facilities. I know we met at your Public Works office, and that's not in the middle of town, but we'd be looking for opportunities to maybe help interconnect that. Fire departments, police stations, those sorts of things too. So yes, all those types of relationships are on the table for us.
Good, thank you.
Sure. And again, I think everyone knows now why internet is important. Fiber internet in particular is more stable. We're able to provide a lot more data along fiber than any of the sort of legacy technologies, cable or DSL or what have you. And I think that based on our experience over the past 3 years or so, we all know that internet is an important part of our lives. We at Ting consider it a utility like water, electricity. Data should be right in there. Everybody should have access to the same level of service for water, electricity, and data. May I have the next slide, please? And this is our pricing. We have one product, $89 a month for 2 gigabit symmetrical service, and that's what we sell. The Affordable Connectivity Program is that second column there. Is the price is $30 a month, but the federal subsidy is $30 a month, and so the federal subsidy means that people pay nothing for the 2 gigabit symmetrical service. And then we do fiber for business, which depends on the needs of the particular business we're talking to. So an enterprise service that's called, basically it means that they would have their own fiber connection. They would have a piece of fiber that's just for them, for their own use, so they wouldn't be sharing the network with anyone else. And that price varies. May I have the next slide, please? So we have our enterprise business connections I was just talking about there. A little bit about sort of what that means. The last piece there, the smart cities, technologies enablement, we're looking for opportunities to work with municipalities that we're in to, I don't know, you're coordinated your traffic signals, or you have traffic cameras, or parking kiosks, or what have you. We can build infrastructure to support all of those things as well. If I may have the next slide, please. In addition to our fiber data internet connections, our subscribers also will have access to Ting Mobile, which is $10 a month for unlimited data mobile service on the Verizon network. It's $10 per line, which is pretty great. When I subscribe to Ting, I mean, we're AT&T. We've been AT&T customers for like 20 years. I also got a Ting line for $10 because it was just that inexpensive. So now my son's phone is on the Ting network. If I may have the next slide, please. And again, our local commitments, we do Wi-Fi in parks a lot. I don't know if y'all have seen Ting Park in Holly Springs, but that's probably our more robust, like one of our more robust engagements. But we're doing something similar in Rollsville. What public Wi-Fi in parks is a very common thing, or maybe you want public Wi-Fi in your downtown. So people walking around have the public Wi-Fi. We also do sort of on-the-spot public Wi-Fi. So if you have a festival or a craft show or farmer's market where you have vendors that need internet access, we can bring just a one-time Wi-Fi connection for everyone so that they can connect their points of sale, their mobile points of sale there through our network.
Like a mobile connection, or is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we will bring a Wi-Fi sort of hotspot that would be sufficient for everyone connected to our network, and then all of your vendors would have access to that for their mobile payment systems. Yes. And you know, whatever community-based organizations you feel that might be appropriate for us to engage with, we're happy to work with them to try to find some way to get
the senior citizens need it now.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, they do. Yes, 100%. So speaking of my digital literacy hat, that's one of the areas that I think that we should probably focus the most on as a company, is helping seniors access the internet for all the various reasons. The bill pay and the email and everything, but being able to have a Zoom call or FaceTime with grandkids, I know it's been a lifesaver for us because our grandparents are all over the country. So but our kids are able to have a relationship with them because we can have this streaming video service. And then, of course, we look for opportunities to sponsor local events. So we'll work with chambers of commerce or any other community-based organizations to find ways to support the community through sponsorships. If I may have the next slide, please. Okay, so this is our project. And I'll say it again, we're still designing it. So I'm not sure what all the exact details are yet, but we'll talk through kind of where we are in the process. If I may have the next slide, please. Just kind of give you an idea of where we are in North Carolina, Wake Forest, Rollsville, Holly Springs, Fuquay. We're building right now in Sanford. We expect that project to have our initial first lighting in July, August, we think now. And we're still not sure where we're going to get started here in Angier, but that's what we're working towards right now. So we're working on some agreements with the town so that we can get things started, and we're also working on our initial designs. If I may have the next slide, please. It's not a great picture, but you can kind of see this is where we expect our project to be currently. Now, if there are areas that we need to focus on, or perhaps there are areas outside this map that we should be considering or designing for growth in particular, then we're happy to work with you to figure out where those places are, add them to our designs. Again, we're still on the drawing boards here, so now would be a good time. We're engaging with Jeff to make sure that we're getting everywhere we need to go. But if you, in your sort of more detailed experience working around here, see a particular area, and again, I'll make this map available to you. If we're missing something, let us know, and we'll make sure to incorporate it into our build. You have the next slide, please. To give you kind of an idea of where we're coming from, we have a lot of infrastructure in the vicinity within 5 miles of here. So that's one of the reasons why we were looking at Angier, because we're close by. It's not too difficult for us to make a hop here. But then also in our conversations now with the town, we've learned that you're planning for a lot of growth, and that this is a good time for us to be putting our infrastructure in the ground.
Okay, let me ask you a question about
Yes,
that.
sir.
The last time we talked to you and Campbell, there were only a few fiber batches left. Has there been more fiber put in to the main trunks?
Well, yes. So we have been upgrading our infrastructure because we were finding that it was insufficient for our plans. So yes, we're putting all that back in the ground. We're also going to be, I believe some of the plan is to leverage other companies' transport fiber, so that there are companies that have fiber in the ground that don't provide internet service. They lease it to us for our use. So I believe that's also part of the plan, is looking for other ways to increase our capacity like that.
Yeah, apparently there were limited bundles in town already previously, but will you be putting in some new fiber?
Yes, sir. Yes. So we'll be bringing in our own transport fiber, and then also looking to lease others. And then, of course, the fiber that we're building out is 100% ours in the ground. The ones that the fiber strands that are put in the ground for service to the addresses will be new, 100% ours.
Okay.
May I have the next slide, please? Our construction, we'll discuss a little bit about our construction process. Obviously, this is what the ground looks like, but I think the important piece I wanted y'all to see is the door hangers. So our pre-construction engagement in the neighborhoods includes mailers that go to every address in the neighborhoods that we're working, and then right before our work starts, the crews will come out and hang one of these on everyone's door in the work zone. So people will know that, well, what is this piece of equipment and why are they digging up the yard in front of my house? There'll also be a phone number on there for people to call with any concerns or complaints, and it goes to a person. So one of the hallmarks of the teen customer experience is that every time you call, you get a person. So we have a dedicated team that's called Construction Experience, and all they do is answer calls from people who are concerned or want to complain or want to thank us or whatever it is. They get to talk to a person, and that phone number will be on the door hanger and also on the mailers that people get. So they'll have direct access to our people throughout the course of the project, which we hope will reduce the number of calls that staff have to field. But of course, if people do call the town, you will have my direct access. You can let me know, and then we'll take care of it from there.
Okay, if your main line goes by on the street, and the person's home is located 300 or 400 feet back from the street, do you still provide the service directly to them, or is there an additional cost to them?
No additional cost, no. So we'll run the fiber through your right-of-way, and anyone who chooses to pick up Ting service will do what's called the drop and run fiber from the right-of-way to their house. And no, there's no additional cost. And it will be in the ground, so we'll use usually it's a micro trench or a directional bore, depending on what we need, the type of subsurface conditions that there are in the yard. But it will be underground. Everything is underground. We don't put any of our infrastructure aerial. And as you'll see in the next couple of slides how that process works, once it's finished, you won't even know that it's there. May I have the next slide, please? So this is what it looks like during construction. You can see that's the type of equipment that we use that will put the fiber into the ground. We dig a hole and save all the dirt, save all the sod, so that once we're finished in the hole, we dump the dirt back in, put the sod back on. And if I may have the next slide, please. This is what it looks like when they're actually in the ground. You can see this fella in the front here sort of standing in the pit, guiding the fiber through, and then the other guys at the top there catching it, catching the conduit. You can see sort of, I mean, even in the middle of construction, there's a minimum of disturbance to the yards. Still, it's a lot for people to see. So again, that's why these door hangers are important, so that when people are like, why are you digging a huge hole in my yard? They can call us and we can sort of walk them through it. If I may have the next slide, please.
How many fibers would fit in the conduit?
I think we'll do 216 fibers.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot. So yeah, It'll be it, and you can see here on the sort of the bottom right is a cross section that sort of more colorful collection of circles in there. That's our conduit, and every one of those circles will have fiber in it. So we have the larger sort of fiber bundles will go in the center, smaller fiber bundles on the outside. That trace wire that you see on there is going to allow your utility locators to know exactly where our infrastructure is, which is.
Or if somebody digs and cuts.
Yeah, well, it happens.
Heaven forbid.
Sure. Yeah, it happens. But I mean, thankfully, we have crews in the vicinity, so any fiber strikes that we have to deal with, we have someone around that can come out and handle it pretty quickly. On the left side there is sort of a side view. You can see the boring pits. That's where those fellows were standing in the boring pits. And then we take the equipment and run the fiber underground between the boring pits. And then that's how we get from A to B. And the top piece there, the directional boring rig, it runs the fiber and cuts it all the way straight through the yard underneath. So there isn't in typical, your standard utility projects, you have like these huge trenches that people are working in. So there will be none of that with our fiber infrastructure. If I may have the next slide, please. And then afterwards, we replace all the sod, check it and water it, make sure that everything is good before we take off. Again, we want a minimum of disturbance, and 100% restoration is the goal here. The next slide, please. And this is what it looks like if we have to go through some kind of a hard surface. We cut the hole, and then you can see the asphalt patch there, and then the concrete patches we use. And I'm not the construction guy, but all of our patches meet whatever the standards are for the road crews. I know that for public works directors and road engineers, having people cut into your asphalt is a grave sin. So we do our best to make sure that our repairs are for the long term and they don't degrade your pavement condition index. If I may have the next slide, please. This is what it looks like going in the ground. So we use these are all this terminology, the hand hole and the flower pot. Essentially, all of our infrastructure is in the ground, and it's in these sort of flat boxes that I'm sure everyone has seen before in their yards. We only use these flat boxes. Some of the cable companies like Spectrum will do these like tower things that are, they're like 2 feet tall that stick up, and the tops are always falling off and everything. Well, none of the vast majority of our infrastructure looks like this. It's just a flat thing. You can mow over it. And in areas where we think that people may be standing on the lids, we'll put a high capacity lid on there. So like firefighters or whatever are standing on it, it's not going to break. May I have the next slide, please? This is what it looks like with the fiber inside there. A different type of in the ground infrastructure that we use, the splice tray. So this is a sort of a bigger hole in the ground that will send the fiber out to all the various households in the vicinity. The next slide, please. This is our only above ground infrastructure, and we expect to have between 10 and 15 of these in Anger. We have one that's an active cabinet, so it requires a power source, and it's what supplies all of the light that transmits the data across our network. Then we have passive cabinets also that are spread out depending on the requirements of our network build to serve all of that in the ground infrastructure. So like I said, we expect between 10 and 15 of these things in total for the town, and it is an ugly utility box. If it's in an area that you feel is very negatively impacted by its location, we can plant shrubs around it. We've done that, or some other kind of screening. We'll work with you on the best options for it. They're heat rated though, so we can't wrap them or paint them, but we will plant around them to make them less obtrusive. And you can see on the bottom there, that's what our conduit looks like, colorful spaghetti. And depending on the needs of the build, where it's going, we'll use any of the various varieties of conduit to get our fiber around. If I may have the next slide, please. This is what our cabinets look like on the inside. Very pretty. We do. I think I'm always a fan of the work our crews do to make sure that they don't look like a smutty spaghetti dinner. It's kind of an art form, the cable placement. And the next slide, I think, yes, so that's all. I'll be happy to send this PowerPoint to y'all if you would like it. And if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them now. And if you don't have any questions tonight, I'm also available via phone or email and can answer your questions then.
How compatible is a fiber, say, a system like we have, for instance? I have 2G and 5G setup, one for security cameras and one for internet. Is it compatible with something like that?
Oh yeah. We would just plug into it.
Perfect.
And then yes, so then you would have increased data going both directions essentially. So your 2 gigahertz Wi-Fi channel would have more capacity going through there, and the 5 would as well.
So it would made up to the Wi-Fi system I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just plug right in.
Perfect.
What do you need from us? What kind of approval or?
Well, we're working on an agreement right now.
Okay.
And I believe that'll come to you. I don't remember how many. I think it's at least 1 vote, 2 votes that they make.
I think so. We're working on an encroachment agreement, that they'll have to sign, which allows them to install, the fiber within our right of ways. And the state, I think would issue them one also. So
Okay.
Yes.
What kind of procedures do you use to avoid cutting other services?
Well, we go through 311 like everyone else, and we hope that all the other utilities have been accurate in the placement of their facilities in the ground. We also use ground penetrating radar, which I think that in the downtown area probably would be recommended because it's been here for a while and it knows what's in the ground. But we often hope for the best. We do have strikes though. We do absolutely have strikes. Right now we're averaging about 1 strike a mile, which is apparently low. Our construction team at least tells me that it's low. But it's anytime you're in the ground, strikes are a risk. So we do our best to
How
find
deep
everything.
do you bury the fiber?
We go about 24 inches, 18 to 24 inches, depending on the subsurface conditions. So thankfully we're not, like in Sanford, they have this, it's like some kind of like Triassic rock formation that is made our build a lot more complicated. Thankfully we don't have to worry about that here. So 18 to 24 inches, and that depth will usually be dependent upon the other types of utility infrastructure that are in the ground. So we'll avoid power or water or sewer or gas or whatever.
Okay, so a visitor to downtown wants access to Wi-Fi. How do you mentioned that, but how do you provide that?
Well, what we would do is we would put Wi-Fi antenna probably on streetlights, business fronts, those sorts of things, whatever is owned by the town. And then somebody walking around with their phone would turn on the Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi and look for a Wi-Fi network, and it would say, Town of Angier guest network or whatever, and then they just connect to that.
Okay, if you go and work with us, you need to pronounce the name right. It's Angier.
Angier.
Kind of like anger.
Yeah.
Angier.
With an
Anger.
Angier. Thank you so much. No, I appreciate that. We will get that right.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question, Bob?
Sure.
A couple, actually. Well, you mentioned our downtown. You do know that we have a downtown internet system now that's basically kind of useless?
No, I didn't.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we used grant money or got state money that came, and we were told we didn't send it that way. We were going to be in trouble for doing it, and it's useless. So I'm skeptical in that area. Okay. Why? You mentioned a few things, but why Angier? You've got a lot of choices. Why Angier?
Well, again, we're close to some of our existing infrastructure, so we're sort of leaping off from Fuquay. Really, is part of the reason. The other part of the reason is that nobody else is here. There isn't any fiber in the vicinity. We basically have the market to ourselves. And from a business perspective, we feel that it makes good business sense. We also did some very high-level demographic research, and the data that they collect is okay, I suppose. I mean, we get more information from interacting with staff or people who actually live here, and the marketing people felt that the demographics here, cost of housing, the level of income was all within sort of our targets for the type of market we would like to go into. We're also our senior VP, who's responsible for construction at the company, lives in Granville County, and so our company's very committed to North Carolina in general. But we've had really wonderful experiences working with Fuquay and with Holly Springs and Wake Forest in particular, and so we're looking to build on that.
So you are close by, and that makes it sort of a easier grab. Who's your biggest competition?
I guess I probably Google Fiber is our main sort of rival. My sense of the other internet service providers is that they're happy with the infrastructure that they have.
Yes.
And without any sort of outside impetus forcing them to upgrade, they're not going to upgrade. So, for example, the cable companies, they use their coaxial cable, and instead of going back and reinstalling fiber, which has basically infinite capacity, instead of their coaxial cable, they look for software solutions to improve the capacity of their cable. So they don't want to change, they don't want to replace the infrastructure. They look for tricks to improve the amount of data that they can conduct along their existing infrastructure. But when we come into a town, this is sort of the other, I think, sort of interesting dynamic to watch is suddenly all these incumbent internet service providers, they have fiber available too, and we're going to sell it for $70 a month, and so just our coming into a market tends to improve the types of products that the other internet service providers are providing as well. So even if people don't go with us, even if people don't go with us, they're going to have access to a better internet connection regardless.
Now you say it's more reliable than cable. How can you say that?
Well, so it's the equipment that runs that the data travels along is a lot more stable and reliable. We use the glass fibers that we use are less prone to failure than the coaxial cable. The boxes that our glass fibers connect into are more reliable than the boxes that the coaxial cables go into. There's a lot less data loss in the glass fiber than there is in the coaxial cables as well. So they tend to be more reliable for delivering data than some of the legacy systems. Also the upgrade requirements. So for us to upgrade our system, we don't have to touch the network. We don't have to touch the fiber that's in the ground. We just change out the boxes on either end. So those pedestals, the sort of the external boxes that we put in the ground, if we want to upgrade our system, we just go to each one of those and change out the equipment in there rather than having to touch our fiber. A lot of people will call fiber a future-proof technology. It basically has an infinite capacity, and once it's in the ground, it's a 100-year commitment. And so that's part of why we're talking about having a long-term relationship with the community here, is because our infrastructure isn't going to degrade over time. It's going to be here long after all of us are gone.
So how often would you have a failure, like for instance, Spectrum, for instance? I can almost, I'm two hands, I can tell you how many times it goes out in a month.
So our internet service won't go out unless there's a strike, so someone cuts our fiber, or if we lose power for some reason. And our lit cabinets, actually, we look for opportunities to have generators proximate to them so we can still keep our network up. But the equipment failure is very, very rare.
And of course, it's not sensitive to lightning,
No.
since it's glass instead of
And we're
metallic.
in the ground as well. So,
Yes.
yeah, let's say a hurricane blows through, we get tropical storms coming in, knocking down trees, power lines, what have you. We're not going to be subject to any of that. Our infrastructure is in the ground.
We're looking towards building new facilities for police and town hall in the near future or the future. What kind of protections and services can you offer to, for instance, the police and the town management in the event of a storm or something like that?
Sure. Well, similar to the types of service we would bring for a farmer's market or a festival or what have you, we could bring in mobile internet connections that would then connect to our network and allow your first responders to still have access to data during their operations.
Okay, you mentioned generators, but would your generators not keep the basic network up?
Oh, you mean if our wired network? Yes. Yes, absolutely they would. Yes.
Mayor, I think one thing that would be positive with fiber all over the town, anywhere the chief wanted to put up a camera to monitor areas, the
True.
fiber would be available. Where it's not now.
And would handle that level of signal, yes. Well,
What makes
go ahead.
your company different from Greenlight out of Wilson that's coming to Dunn?
Ooh, I would say that we're very similar. I mean, except we're, privately held corporation essentially. So we come from maybe a different direction, but I feel that the culture of the organization is very similar. Both are looking to bring a service to communities that don't have the service. I think, the biggest difference is just that we're not a public entity, and we're a publicly traded company. So we do, there is obviously a profit motive in the decisions that are being made by the corporate executives. But I would say we're very similar.
Is there, I'm now being wild here, being a business person too. Are there any, could you list me perks that we are going to get other than having optical? And I'm using an example. We get, I'm making it up, Richard, you may have to help me or somebody else up here. We get cell phone companies that use our water towers. They pay us to do that. We get something for, and I'm trying to, is there a perk that you offer
Sure.
to the town of Angier in that way that
Yes.
comes with your company?
Yes, we would call it an in-kind agreement. So, whatever formal arrangement we have with the town, let's say in lieu of paying for a permit fee for access to the right-of-way, we connect municipal facilities with fiber. Or in exchange for an easement to place one of our active cabinets in the vicinity of a municipal facility, we would then provide free Wi-Fi to that municipal facility. So we're doing actually that very arrangement in Sanford, and also for Lee County. We place an active cabinet next to the Lee County Sheriff's Center in Sanford, and we're now going to be providing free Wi-Fi in their lobby area. So it's not a public safety use, but providing service there. And we're still working out details with the city of Sanford to find where they would like us to connect. But we would connect municipal facilities like that, provide free Wi-Fi, those sorts of things. We look for opportunities like that to collaborate with you to make sure that everybody is benefiting from this relationship. So we're not here to take advantage of anyone. We're here to have a relationship, and happy to look for ways that we can help serve the community better.
I think you also mentioned when we met with them that they love to sponsor like festivals and events and,
We do.
special projects and things of that nature. Maybe a large donation to Teen Park in Angier.
Yes. For example, we're looking for opportunities like that.
When we get up to 15,000 population, there may be multiple stoplights and such. Is the cable available to facilitate that sort of coordination between traffic devices?
You mean what would we yes, so we could as part of our agreement with the town put in conduit, for example, for any future uses such as that. So traffic signal coordination requires fiber connections. So we could put conduit in the ground through your intersections in anticipation of some future use by the town, or traffic cameras, or shot spotters, or any other types of data uses that you might foresee in the future. These sort of smart city applications, as they call it. We can put empty conduit into the ground that you could then use.
Which, while you're doing the other, is very simple to do, as opposed to going back, digging back, and putting it in later.
Yes, sir.
Oh, make a note of that.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
We've already had some of these conversations.
We have a little bit, yes.
Especially trying to tie all of our buildings together, on a single network. So.
It's difficult for me to imagine, because when I think back at what little bit of gas line they put in here, it went on forever. I mean, forever. And it certainly didn't bring gas to the town, really. I mean, you either had to be on the main highway, or that was it. And I was curious, but that install went on for a very long time, benefiting
Nobody.
Well, yes, that's about what I would say.
Yeah, Dominion.
What's your usual time frame for installations of this size?
I think right now our plan is, and then we're going to actually try to coordinate things with the town here to make sure that if there are opportunities, so I know that there's a municipal water project, for example, that will be in the ground. So if we have opportunities to put our conduit while you have a trench open, at that time we will look for that. We're looking to also coordinate with road resurfacing, your planned road resurfacing, so that we aren't cutting into your pavement. Our plan right now is to start probably in early 2024, and I would imagine a 2-year build for us. And we are a private company, and so we need to get our infrastructure in the ground so that we can start getting some customers to be using the infrastructure. But probably 18, 24 months total for the entirety of the municipality. Once we get going.
How many miles did you mention the other day of fiber?
I don't even remember now what the guys were saying. Yeah, it was a lot. It's a lot of miles. I don't remember the exact number though.
What about as Andrew grows and extending fiber to new areas?
Yes, so that's part of what we like to talk. Make sure that we're in alignment with your plans, because we know that there actually are a lot of approved permits already. But if you have ideas of where growth might occur, I would like to make sure that we're building that in with the anticipation of the future growth. Yes. So it's all done at once. And as we're in our builds, I'm sure that there are going to be developments that are coming online. So we'll work with the developers to make sure that we put our fiber in the ground when they're putting their roads in. After the electric and after the water goes in, then we'll put ours in, and then they can build their roads. But we want to make sure that we're in the ground before the roads are built, so that we disrupt your infrastructure as little as possible.
We talked with you a few years ago along with Campbell. Did you wind up putting fiber over at Campbell, or?
I don't believe so. No, I'm not sure actually. What I asked around. I don't know that anyone that was part of that meeting actually is part of the company anymore. So I'm not sure what happened to the plans.
Okay.
I've been with Ting for 4 months. It seems most of the people that I work with have been working with the company for less than 2 years, actually. We're all very new together.
Wow. Other questions from the board? Okay.
I don't know what our plans are for the bypass. For the highway coming through? Just having to work with NC DOT, which is sometimes, depending on which office you're working with, it can be easy or it can be hard. But yes, we'll have to work with them. on that permitting. So part of our planning process is we're trying to get our design now so that we can begin the permitting process with NCDOT, which can, I think in this particular office, we anticipate it'll take 9 months to get a permit. So yeah, now is when we should be planning for the bypass. Yeah.
Well, I think the important thing would be to get through the bypass to the other side so that you can provide service for the commercial that's going to be located there.
So the state highway designs envision having conduit accessible for projects like ours, but I'm not sure exactly the design for this specific.
We've got water and sewer that'll be crossing that thing.
Well,
By several locations.
we wanted to put a water line. It was $1.2 million, so we didn't do that.
Oh wow.
Any other questions?
I'll make sure our engineers are on that then. Goodness.
It's the right time to be talking to DOT about that. It seems appropriate that the board take some action to welcome or encourage Ting to come and be a part of our community. Does anyone on the board have such a motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Okay. That we are appreciative and welcome you to the community.
Business, yes, sir.
And look forward to entering a formal agreement with you.
Thank you so much.
Is that all in favor of that? Please raise your hand. I'll even raise my hand on that one.
It's all very positive.
Right on. Okay.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm looking forward to getting to know y'all better over the course of this project, and looking forward to getting some Ting internet service in town here.
Good.
All right.
Thank you for venging out with us here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I'd like to recognize the town manager of Stantonsburg, North Carolina. Brian Hawley, I think our board should give you appreciation for your new position. So, all right, we've got 2 proclamations. Let's see. Do we have any policemen here?
We're at the donut shop.
Come on down. Sort of. Well, we normally appreciate you, but now we're going to specially appreciate you. Proclamation honoring National Police Week. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Town of Anger Police Department and area agencies. And whereas the members of the law enforcement agencies serving the Town of Anger, including Harnett County Sheriff's Office, Wake County Sheriff's Office, North Carolina ALE, Anger ABC, and the Town of Anger Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the Town of Anger and its citizens. Whereas it's important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agencies, and that members of our law enforcement agencies recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. Whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, more than 23,785 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and have been killed in the line of duty. and the names of those dedicated public servants are engraved on the wall of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. Have you been there? It must be really special. In Washington, D.C. And whereas 556 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in 2023, including 224 officers killed in 2022 and 332 officers killed in previous years. Now, therefore, it be resolved, the ANGER Board of Commissioners will observe May 14 through 20, 2023, as National Police Week in the town of Anger. And we publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. Thingy. Now, I think I'm going to go back up top to read this one. Well, actually, this is National Public Works Week. Do we have any Public Works person here?
Jimmy's at a meeting. So.
He's at a meeting. Okay. Well, Jimmy, if you see this later.
He's probably watching.
He's probably watching. Proclamation honoring National Public Works Week. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and their public health, high quality of life, and the well-being of the people, such as those in Anger. And whereas infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated effort of public work professionals, who are engineers like our Bill, managers and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it's in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Anger to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective community. And whereas the year 2023 marks the 63rd annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we do designate the week of May 21 through 27, 2023, as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and any ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees such as this, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make in protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. Signed, Robert K. Smith, Mayor. Let's, in absentia, give them a all right. Now, on to business items. One first award on bids on the parking lot project, or how did that come out?
Well, you should have this in your agenda packet. We submitted or requested bids from 5 different contractors. And I think Jimmy gave me a list here somewhere. Highland Paving, Johnson Brothers Paving, RLT Construction, Montague Developers, and Southern Cross Utilities. As you can see, we only got 2 bids. The first bid being from RLT and Associates at a price of $266, $399.05, and they said if they were awarded the bid, they could start in 2 weeks. The second bid was by Montague Development LLC, and their bid price was $231,693, and they said they could probably start within the next 30 days. So staff's recommendation, I think, is that you award the bid to Montague Development for $231,693, and you have approximately $250,000 currently set aside in your budget for this parking lot. And I'll try and answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Any questions?
Punch in, Alan. I remember a little while back we talked about did we decide that it was not necessarily cost effective to let the same person do both parking lots and try to do this job at the same time, or was it just decided?
What happened is that all of the bidders we reached out to did not want to bid on that project at this time. Jimmy's currently
the other project.
Yeah, Jimmy's currently working with them, and we should have you some bids on that for your June meeting, and we'll have those funds in the 23-24 budget for that parking lot. So
great. And as far as the other one, I know we approved the plans or the layout and everything of that nature. Is Jimmy good with these possible start dates?
Yes.
So we're okay to go with that and do our curbing and guttering or whatever that needs to go along with this and make all of that happen. But he was good with the dates. Okay.
Any other questions?
Now, this is just for the one parking lot behind the stores here, correct? Behind Napa Candies.
They'll also be building the storage facility for the dumpsters. That's part of that project also.
Yes.
Okay.
Montague's been around.
Is there a motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion for we award the bid to the Montague Development for the parking lot.
Okay. Is there further discussion?
No, because this again. Trying to do the math. What comes out to about a difference of $36,000.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
So the motion is to award to the low bidder, Montague Development LLC. All in favor, please raise your right hand. And it passes unanimously.
You've actually got enough funds in the budget to cover it, so that's
right
a good thing.
Okay. Next thing, health insurance.
I'm not sure how deep we go. But I've kind of given you a summary here. If you took what you're paying right now and what you currently have in your budget for the cost of health insurance and what you have in the budget for the health reimbursement accounts of $95,334, you would your current budget would be $452,192. Our current carrier is Aetna, and they have given you a proposal for the next year. The total cost when you add all those up, with health, dental, vision, life, and accidental death and disfigurement, and the current funds you have in there for the health reimbursement accounts, your total would be $504,355. We also got quotes from Blue Cross Blue Shield. If you take those same numbers, our total cost would be $403,370.
That's a big difference.
Now, one of the big differences, if you'll turn over to the second page, now what you currently have, your plan is what they call level funded, which means whatever you occurred during the year, if you have large claims, that has a direct impact on your rates. What we're proposing under Blue Cross Blue Shield is to move to a fully insured plan. And they guarantee you coverage. That doesn't make a difference what kind of impact you have on the rates. They will provide the coverage. I think it's a much safer option. One thing that you don't have with the Blue Cross Blue Shield policy is the health reimbursement accounts. And you currently set aside $2,000 for each employee that if they have large medical claims, they pay the first $2,000 of the deductible, and the town would pay the second $2,000. Over the past several years, you could probably count on one hand the number of people that has actually taken advantage of that. So you budgeted over years, but it never gets spent. So what we're proposing is to have the Blue Cross Gold 3000 plan, which will look on this second page. That would be option 2. And that's what we budgeted here for, is that option 2 plan. We would also like to offer an HSA plan, which is a health savings account. And if you get an employee to sign up for the HSA, it's a lot cheaper for the town. To encourage that, what we'd like to do in the first year is make that same $2,000 contribution to any person that signs up for the HSA. The difference, in the HSA, the health savings account, that $2,000 goes into their personal account. When they get a card, just like a Visa cards, Tom. So when they go to the doctor or they buy medicine, they just use that card. It also gives them the opportunity to put their own cash in there pre-taxed. And once they put money in it, that money stays theirs. If they leave and go somewhere else, that money goes with them. It becomes their money.
So that would, if for instance they had a prior HSA contribution somewhere else, that would be aggregated with this 2,000.
Yes.
Okay.
But if you're sick, or if you have a lot of doctor's bills, or you have a lot of prescriptions, and HSA is not the right plan for you, because you're going to be paying out a lot of cash up front. So we expect most of our staff will remain in the basic plan. I've got budgeted the potential for 10 of our staff members may be joining HSA. If you get 10, I'll be well pleased. But your goal over time is, you would hope, to move all of your staff over to an HSA. But by choice, that's not possible. Some people just need the basic plan. If you're young, you have no doctor bills, you're in good health, you're not doing anything, it's a perfect plan for you. So, but our goal is to give the staff options. So our basic recommendation, is to go with option 2 on the Blue Cross Blue Shield, and to also offer the HSA. And if an employee does sign up for the HSA, is to give that $2,000 contribution. And as you move forward, you look at that amount every year. You wouldn't want to put that much in there next year, but I think on this, the first year, we want to try and encourage people to move over to the HSA. The dental coverage, we got proposals from Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Aetna, and on both on dental and vision, the best coverage seems to be with the North Carolina League of Municipalities. And our life and AD&D coverage is currently with let's see, New York Life, and we propose we just leave that as it is. But all total, you'd be about $50,000 less than you got budgeted this year.
Exactly.
Sounding to me like with some better benefits.
Yeah.
Right.
And so your staff hates Aetna. I mean, they've been horrible. Yeah, Cigna. I don't know why I put that in there. Yeah, Cigna. But these costs are the last piece I need so I can start finishing up the budget.
So what do we need? We need a motion?
Yes.
I'd go ahead and make the motion that we switch to the Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the one that's going to be saving us almost $50,000.
Okay.
I think it'd be beneficial
Well,
for
the
our
recommendations on
recommendation,
the front page there.
Yeah, for all the coverages we've
of
got
all the
listed
coverages,
there.
yes. That's the most fitting.
I was- I was trying to get the numbers to work on the 46 times 29 doesn't come out to 16,008. So the 46 by 29 is the monthly cost. Just to clarify. Okay.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
No.
That's a no-brainer. there.
That's a
Saving-
no-brainer.
Saving money for better coverage. I'm all for it.
Hey.
And one thing different we did this year, I had all of the department heads involved in the selection of the broker. The prior broker was friends of the prior manager. We went in a different direction this year. And we also had the staff review all of the options here. I mean, I think everybody sort of came to the same conclusion.
Thank you so
on our
much for doing it that
Okay.
way.
All
That's
right. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. It is passed unanimously. Okay. Let's see. What else we got?
All right, we need to set several dates.
Oh, yeah.
We'd like to have a couple of budget workshops. I would recommend that we hold our public hearing on Tuesday, June the 20th, which would be the same day as your June workshop. So if we could come up with 2 work dates prior to the 20th.
Okay, so June the 20th. What are the other ones y'all looking at?
I'm not sure what your actual meeting date.
It's
Well, explain to me, Richard, or somebody explain to me, what you mean by budget workshop.
For us to present a budget to you
Yeah,
and for each of you to be able to ask questions and
yeah, for us to tweak.
Okay,
make
and
recommendations
is that
and-
again 2 by 2
So,
on the arc?
okay,
or-
previously what we would do is 2 commissioners would just come meet with you like on a Thursday or Friday.
and then
Do you want to do it that way and just have,
I'm fine either way. Tom, I've always done it in an open meeting with the entire board. I mean, but I'm comfortable either
I
way.
don't care.
I'm for that.
I'm for that.
the only difference is you have to notice the entire board meeting testing, as opposed to you don't have to give notices if you're meeting 2 by 2.
Yeah. If I've got you all there at the same time and you ask a question, you all hear the answer at the same time, or you get the same information at the same
And
time. But I'm fine either way.
do
y'all
we
wanna
do we pass the budget at that meeting, or
Tom,
we
I
have?
would pass it Tom after your public hearing on the 20th.
Okay, well, wait a minute. The workshop is the 20th.
That would be your budget public hearing evening.
Okay.
You can't adopt a budget until you have a public hearing, and I'm proposing that public hearing be on the 20th.
And then
and after you close the public hearing, we'll adopt the
and then
budget.
adopt it. Okay.
Yes.
We have to get it done by the end of the month. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, either way, it doesn't bother me. I'm open.
Whatever y'all are comfortable with, I'm fine either way.
Well, if we know they can't be present, then he could do it individually, I guess. With that.
If that's how y'all want to do it, I'm fine with that. All right, if that
Like
works,
the 2x2?
then we'll get with you and
Okay.
and
But
set
we
some-
would vote on the 20th to
Yes.
adopt or not adopt. Okay.
Yes. We'll get back with you with the staff and everything. We'll find out what dates work for y'all. And yeah. I got to have it complete by June the 1st, so I don't have any choice. I mean, I got to get it done.
July the 1st.
I've got to have it done
By June the 1st. Okay.
Yeah, by June the 1st. by
Well,
law.
it just has to be passed by then.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. The only other two items I'd like to ask you about, the mayor and I have discussed maybe that second week of July, the second Tuesday, which would be July 11th. Tom, would you be interested in a short planning session with your new manager, sort of get a feel for what y'all are looking for, moving forward, give her an idea what she needs to be? Tuesday, July 11th.
That's the planning board Tuesday.
She starts on the 5th, which is Wednesday, and then that following Tuesday we would have that meeting. And they were just between the board and her. Of course, I'll be there also. So.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anything
And
else?
The only other item is, do you want to, would the board like to have a, some type of reception for her when she arrives in that first week or so? Where the citizens can stop by and meet her and greet.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do it at the depot. Yeah. Okay, question is, what date for that? And would you want to do it at 5 o'clock on the 11th?
5 to 6.
And you come back here at 6:30?
I'm game for putting together the same day.
Right. Right.
The question is, do we need to shove it up just a little bit later for people that might be working and we're doing 5:30 to 6:30 perhaps?
Yeah.
Push that.
Makes sense to me.
So you do 5 to 6:30? Then we meet at 7? Or is an hour and a half too long? Okay, just an hour? Okay.
Yes. Sound okay to
Sounds
you?
good to me.
Okay.
All right, we'll send out a reminder of the dates and the times and everything for you. So.
And let's see, Alan, you had a couple
That's
items.
all I had, Mayor.
6:30. Yes. Yep.
Whoever, if ever, does anyone go into the old schoolhouse and check on its status and structurally sound and standing and what's going on? Who does? Yes.
You have to come up here, Derek.
So, Alan, about a year ago, Faye Price asked us to do some repairs on it and check to make sure that everything was good. Adam Rayner actually did the repairs, and he donated the labor and the materials on it. And I guess it's probably been about a year ago. And we actually checked everything out then, and it is actually in pretty good condition. There's no leaks in the roof. Everything inside, there's nothing inside that's glaringly that needs repair. And we do go in there about once every 2 months just to make sure that there's no animals that snuck in there and, died or whatever in there. We actually had a bird in there the other day that we had to get out. So I don't know how the lady knew that there was a bird in there, but she came over to the office. Hey, there's a bird in the old school, and it actually was a bird in the old school. I don't know how it got in there, but we got it out. So we were in there last week. So yes, we do periodically go in there. About every quarter, we go and just check things out and make sure nobody's been in there and broken into it. And if anybody ever needs to go in, we do have a key to the lock. So yes.
That is certainly, we would think, being a National Historic Registered Site would be open for a good amount of possible grants to do some work there or upgrade.
Yes.
They have to give money out for things like that, and I think that person could work with you.
Okay. Yeah.
Backyard.
Right.
And I'd like to push her to find a way, just open the doors, make an announcement, and make it an event.
Yeah. I know. Years ago, we used to have field trips down there. The elementary school would come over and they'd do a field trip up here to the town hall, the police station. They'd go down to the old school and they would have lunch at the park and their picnic shelters. And I know in the past few years that hadn't happened, but we probably need to get back to doing stuff like that.
I mean, it's a shame that we have a National Historic Site sitting right down there, and we don't use it at all. And I'm just saying, make it put a couple events there and make it something. Maybe she joins into the library with it or something.
Right.
That something's
Yes. I mean,
happening
it probably,
in the schoolhouse.
Yeah, maybe something that the library could
Yeah.
piggyback off of as well. Yeah, we all with the elementary school, the library, and us all together. And the new person that comes in, maybe they've got some ideas too.
Sure.
I mean,
But
we're always open to stuff like that.
we can put that on somebody's agenda plate to follow through with. And the other thing would be that was it. That was what I just wanted to see where we stood with it and its status and safety, and is it going to fall on us or are we going to lose it? And because I do think it's a treasure that we just don't take advantage of.
When me and Adam walked around, last year, it was actually in really good shape.
That's great.
We couldn't tell where it was leaking at all inside the roof. And so, I mean, it's just dusty and old. That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Is there, Derek? Is there anything left in it anymore? Did they remove everything?
You still got
when
the old desks and all that, and there's some other stuff in there.
Well,
you need to come down there. And
I'll
look
come
at
and see you one day.
it. You do.
I
You
will
need to
do that.
it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
One more thing. The little girl that was killed yesterday is a part of our program. And please send thoughts and prayers to their family. The girl that was killed on Piney Grove, Wilburn Road, 7-year-old. It was on the news last night and this morning. She was in our soccer program. So she was a twin sister in a bad car accident yesterday. And it's been tough. We got a couple phone calls today. We actually canceled their game tonight. So just keep their family in your thoughts and prayers, because it's
Certainly.
anytime a kid.
Should we?
We will. We're going to try. We're going to give it a little bit of time, because it has to be tough. But yeah, we found out this afternoon. We had seen it on the news. That it was a bad car accident over there on Piney Grove, Wilburn Road yesterday.
Right.
And then I found out about 2:00 today. It was one of the kids that plays in our soccer program that had gotten killed. So just want to let you guys know that. Okay. Thank you.
Is it the consensus of the board that we express concern and to the family on the death of the little girl? Yeah. Okay. All right.
And the next thing I just wanted to put on the radar, which I had mentioned, and I'm not, if somebody could get back to us on this, because I know I've mentioned it and we've talked about it several times, but I don't think we've taken any action. It just got never assigned to anybody's plate. As we mentioned, it's great that the chamber's working on the grounds and everything at the depot, but we have mentioned several times that the depot needs some repair. We did a beautiful deck job and railings, but we have doors that you can't even open that are out of tracks, need new hardware, and there again, it's one of our town treasures and a function place that we rent out. And if we can now follow through, how can we get those repairs done?
We've got funds now because you had that $250,000 and you're only spending,
And perhaps if it would be Jimmy also that would look at that, we talked at another time, no matter what you do when you go in there, whoever rents it or whatever, it's dark as pitch. There are only 3 milk glass globes that hang in the center on fans. I mean, it's just it's not enough lighting, and something I think could easily be added to it via out of those that would use track light, which is appropriate in things. Museums and whatnot use that to light up historic, so it wouldn't be out of the keeping. And it's very difficult to even go in there. And we're talking about that facility. That's what brought it to mind. It maybe start being used more, whether it's the library picking up some of it. There's going to be a demand for it because we can't accommodate everything here. So we do want to make it as comfortable as possible. I'd hate to go over there and go to a story hour or something like that and be in the dark. It's very, and I think we could do some things that would be inexpensive and quick remedies to help that situation. But I was looking ahead going, all right, if the library indeed is going to have to hold some things over there, even if you want to do tables and crafts, you better bring a headlamp. That's about the extent of it. And then I want to double.
We had thought about that when we did those additional receptacles outside with the electrician. So,
but we could look into those.
Look into it and
we'll get
back.
And make a recommendation back. Okay. Anything else? All right. Well, Jeff, welcome aboard. And the 3 gentlemen over there, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. Is there a motion that we adjourn?
Don't get used to leaving this early, Jeff. I'm just telling you. Okay? All right.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay. All in favor, raise your hand and go.
Good night.